So, so it happened this day. I was laying on my bed in the afternoon, and it wasn't a serious sleep. I just said I should rest a little bit, like 30 minutes, 1 hour, and I did not know that I was going to get a revelation of my life. Didn't know I was going to get a revelation that would change my life forever. And it was normal day for me. I just said, okay, let me rest a little bit. So I did not sleep in the conventional way, just laid down across the bed. And I said, all right, if I knew it, I fell asleep. And it was like a trance. It wasn't really a dream, more like a trance. And I realized that the moment I fell asleep, I was talking with God. And I was on this large field. It was so large, like a desert area, like sands, desert. And I didn't see anyone. I didn't see any buildings. It was just pure, like the Sahara desert. Yeah, and the Lord was speaking to me. He was saying some things to me. He was talking to me. He said this, he said that. Let me just make this straight that before now, I wasn't really a vibrant, persistent Christian. I was in and out. But I had the gifts of the Holy Spirit, gifts of word of knowledge, words of wisdom, gifts of visions, discerning of spirits. But there was this consecration that God wanted me to have and I did not have. Okay, so I was, what you would say, I was a backsliding Christian. I was a backsliding Christian. So the Lord was speaking to me. He was saying some things. He was talking about sports. He was talking about football and how football can snatch you away from the presence of God. How it can take you away from the presence of God. Okay, so he was saying that I shouldn't focus so much on football. He was talking about other things, but the one I remember clearly is that I shouldn't make football an idol. It's okay to watch football. It's okay to watch sports. It's okay to do sports. But if it becomes an idol, then there is a problem. Whatever you do, just make sure that it does not become an idol. I've never told anyone this before, but I used to be a very strong supporter of Manchester United. And at that time, I was really, really into football. I was supporting Manchester United. And the slogan, is this slogan now, or like the logo, the name of Manchester United players, they are called the Red Devils. Yes, up till today, I think they call them Red Devils. So that is the alternative name to you say Manchester United. So everywhere I went back then, if they say, oh, what club do you support? I'll say, I'm a Red Devil. What club do you support? I say, Red Devil. Red Devils, and they know it was always United. I said, yeah. The Lord was speaking to me, and after this vision, I'm going to say this before the Lord showed me the revelation of hell. Before I explain the revelation of hell. When he told me about football, I knew what he was talking about. I knew the Lord was saying I shouldn't make football an idol. And he was saying that I shouldn't let it take me away. Let it control my emotions. Because, football can be a very, very powerful tool that has capacity to distort your mood, to scatter your mood, to make you depressed, to give you anxiety, panic attacks, just like sports, just like any other sport that you put your heart into. And I knew that God just wanted me to shouldn't be so much into football. And again, I felt in my spirit that he was telling me to stay away from football because I was already saying I'm a Red Devil, I support Red Devils. And that is not a good thing to confess. It's telling people that you are a Red Devil or that you support an organization, a club that says devil on it, and you're still supporting that club. So that was when I made up my mind and said, I won't support Manchester United anymore. I'll just be neutral, watch football. But when I started seeing, I was just neutral. I just support teams. I didn't support Manchester United anymore. God wants people to separate themselves unto him. Okay, so I'll just go into the story. As I was walking, he was talking to me, and then he stopped talking to me. Realized that I was going alone on the desert road, the Sahara, like a Sahara desert. I was walking alone on the road, and all of a sudden, the ground on which I stood opened up. It opened up, it disappeared, and I just felt gravity. I've never felt that kind of gravity before in my life. Gravity that makes you think that your body has more weight than you actually have. The ground on which I stood just disappeared. And I went down. Down. It was so quick and so fast. I felt helpless. There was nothing I could hold on to. There was nothing I could do. I fell. And immediately the ground opened and I went into the ground. The first thing I saw was a huge fire, burning fire, a large fire everywhere under the ground. It was like the ground immediately disappeared. I was ushered into a new place of fire. I was still like dropping, but it wasn't even up to a millisecond. I knew what I was into. I saw this huge fire, my left and my right, and immediately I felt the pain and the torment of what it means to be in hell. I know many people do not like the story of hell, but Jesus actually spoke about hell, more about hell than any other place, than heaven actually, because he doesn't want people to go there. He said if your eye causes you to sin, plug it out. It's better for you to enter into heaven a one-eyed man than to have both eyes and burn in hell. He said in hell the fire will never be quenched. He said if your arm causes you to sin, cut it off. Your leg, cut it off. It's better to enter into heaven lame than to have both legs and burn in hell. There was so much emphasis about hell in the Bible when Jesus was talking. It is not that you are going to enter into heaven a one-eyed man or a lame man. It is not that there is a one-eyed man in heaven. No disability in heaven. It just talks about the importance of just making it into heaven, crawling it into heaven, swimming through into heaven. You can't be anywhere else. You just have to make it to heaven. Whether as a one-eyed man, as a lame man, as a cripple. So you must be ready to sacrifice even your eye, your legs, your arms, your whole body just to make it into heaven. That is the importance and the emphasis in that verse. It said if your eye calls you to sin, plug it out. I descended. I was welcomed by this pain. There was this automatic cry that came out from within my soul. It wasn't voluntary. When something happens to you and you just don't know why, you're shouting and you're screaming and you're crying. I never screamed like that. I would never scream like that on earth the way I screamed in that place. I was screaming at the top of my voice. And I was screaming at the top of my voice. It was as if it was my soul that was crying out. Because I was burnt. I was being burnt with fire. It was the fire. It was the fire. It was the fire. It enveloped me, and the next thing was there was a loud cry from within my soul, not my body. Because when you're in hell, it is your soul that burns. The cry came out from my soul. I've never felt such pain before, such torment. Hell is a place that you would never wish your worst enemies should go to. The kind of pain, the kind of torment. It was automatic for me. It was like, and the Lord said I was there for just about 2 seconds. Just 2 seconds. And I'm going to be explaining everything I felt. Like I said, the first thing was the pain, the fire that burnt me. And it was a huge cry. I was screaming at the top of my voice. And then I started thinking about people, my family. Thinking in my heart that I didn't tell them I was coming here. They will be expecting me. They will be waiting for me, not knowing that I was never going to return to them. I didn't tell them I was coming here. And then I knew the importance of love, of peace, of joy, of family, of friends. Hell is a place of extreme loneliness, extreme pain, extreme regret. I said, no, I have to go. I didn't tell them I was coming here. They were looking for me. So while I was being tortured by the flame, I was worrying, having anxiety, panic about how I lived on earth, about my family on earth, the people I left on earth, and how I got there suddenly. But there was this strange feeling. I knew I was there to stay forever. I did not ask for mercy because I knew I was there to stay. You know, when you encounter atheists and they have all sort of arguments about how God is not God, how Jesus is not God, how there is no God that reigns over the earth and heavens, the moment they die, they don't have that intelligence to argue anymore. Because the intelligence, the arguments, the skills is limited to flesh, to man. But the moment you die, you can't argue with anyone. There is no argument in hell. I knew I was there to stay. I was worrying about my family, having anxieties about my family, about everyone. And then, while I was doing all these things, I heard cries, screams, strange screams that I've never heard before, of people who were in pain, crying out of their soul at the top of their voices. It was extreme. It was disturbing. Even sometimes more than the anxieties and the panic, the screams that came out from people who were being tortured, who were being burned by this fire, was really, really disturbing. And for me, it was a solo torment. I did not see anyone. I did not see any evil person or celebrities, or people ask me a lot of questions about this. I did not see any celebrities or anyone in hell. It was just me. And the Lord said I was there for 2 seconds. Hell is a place that you don't want your worst enemy to be. You don't want your worst enemy to go there. I didn't ask for mercy. The moment I was there, I started screaming at the top of my voice. I was still falling. My both hands were up. I was still falling. I said, no. I knew where I was. I actually didn't know where I was. I knew where I was after I woke up. I said, what? What is this? God, please. And I told the Lord that He should never show me hell. But then I've seen like 2 revelations of hell, but they were not intense. Hell is a place of great torment, my people. You have to live for Christ. You have to surrender your life to Christ and begin to live for Him. God bless you. My name is Adiola Isaiah, your brother in the School of Prayer and the Word of God.